In this episode, I will take you through why I believe that now is an opportune and attractive time to own MSTR, aka the company called Strategy, the company with Michael Saylor at the helm that invented the whole strategy playbook of being a BAC, a Bitcoin accumulating company that keeps stacking more sats, keeps buying more Bitcoin and owning more Bitcoin per share. I think this could be, and it's not financial advice, the right time. And let me share why I think so. So right now, and the thesis here really is that the S&P 500 inclusion is going to make, let me just remove that logo there for a while, that the S&P 500 inclusion is likely to happen over the next couple of months, and what that means. So point by point, the implied volatility of strategy right now is historically low. The options are showing this. The call options, they are very affordable compared to normally. I will say, do not be a lemming. Don't copy trades. I make mistakes all the time. Think for yourself. This is not financial advice. It's financial entertainment at best, or maybe information. Do with it as you like, but your decisions are your own and your own responsibility. However, if you do like the financial entertainment / information, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That would help me a lot. I appreciate it. But once again, not financial advice. Okay. So a lot of us have owned strategies since last year. Some have been around for many years. But last year was really the year where strategy set itself apart. It did a 6.5x in 2024 approximately, and Bitcoin did 2.5x. And that's why the world woke up and realized that this is not just owning an ETF, Bitcoin ETF, without a negative compound interest in terms of the admin fees, but really and a Bitcoin accumulating company. And therefore also we've seen a flood of new companies giving this a shot. And what we've seen, I believe, in June 2025, where strategy stopped running the ATM on the common stock, still, despite of that, really just got stuck with a relatively low MNAV, which means premium to the net asset values that they hold on the stock, which just also further made it kind of stalls the engine of the BTC yield. And that's what you want. You want a BTC yield on your stock. And let's go over to this slide just real quick, or not slide. This is live. Let me just give it an update and make sure. So this is 3 companies that I follow closely in terms of the BTC yield they're able to generate here and now, and also the price of, all right, that seemed like a really good opportune time. Sorry about that. I'm not even on VPN. There we go. All right, there we have it. So strategy now has an MNAV of 1.95, Metaplanet's at 6.5, and blockchain group in France is at 8.8. And if you're looking at what will the end game look like, I will say that the MNAV of strategy now, the investment of strategy, has been very close to completely de-risked. I think is very limited downside in owning and buying strategy now. And the reason is these shiny rockets like Metaplanet, Blockchain Group, SWC, and others that are popping up. But it has also had the result that strategy in Q2 has had a BTC yield of only a little bit above 5.5%. And then you're seeing Metaplanet that's done 112%. And as investors, that's what we like to see. We like to see an increase in the Bitcoin per share. So that has meant, I'll go back to my little slide here. That has meant that the price of strategy really has been has, in my opinion, become attractive. It's really a value play now. It's very low risk, and that's interesting right now because we are getting close to the fulfilling the final criteria for strategy to be included in the S&P 500. And if you recall, then October and November last year saw a giant pump in the price of strategy because it was a front running on the QQQ inclusion. Now what we're seeing is, and shout out to punter Jeff for running the numbers on this. Let's just Jeff, you're our quant when it comes to strategy, together with the rest of the True North crew. We love it. And he ran the numbers, which means that right now for the final quantitative criteria, we're looking at, there's a 93% chance that Bitcoin stays at a price level. It's probably more like 94% now, because as the price of Bitcoin, and we're halfway through today. Anyways, it's just 94% chance that the price of Bitcoin stays at the price that strategy ticks all the boxes for entering S&P 500. Now, it's still a qualitative decision by the board or the decision-making group at S&P 500, but it would be foolish to not include S&P 500. S&P 500 needs strategy to help improve the performance. Another shout out is going to go to Preston Pish. A couple of years back, he made the graph showing that since the very bottom of the 2008 financial crisis, if you put the S&P 500, and in normie world, in TradFi world, people believe that S&P 500, we've really recovered. It's really great. You know, we're back up. We succeeded in putting the recession behind us. But if you divide the S&P 500 with the printing of money, the M2 money supply expansion, the S&P 500 is still flat from back in 2008. And what does that mean? It means we're in reality in a great depression and have been for 17 years. And people will deny that. Like, no, the numbers are up. Well, if you keep diluting the denominator, sure, you can look like you're up, but you're not. But the magic that does for the tax authorities is, well, if we just keep diluting, so number go up on your stock, even though the real value doesn't go up, we get to take capital gains, even though there's no real gains. That's all a scam as well. But back to strategy and what I believe could be a really great scenario here in second half. Now, I didn't sell any strategy to buy any of the new fast-moving engines, like I mentioned here, Metaplan and SWC, where I have a position in both. But that was also for the reason of I'm using that is marginable on my Fidelity account, which means that I could buy a bunch of strike on my account there with the security of MSTR. There's very little downside at this point. I would say don't use margin for anything except maybe, like, even don't do it. But I have chosen to take the risk of using the margin to acquire STRK, because on that, which is a preferred stock that pays almost 8% yield, very limited downside. And it gives me, it has a built-in call option, which means essentially it is about 40% perpetual forever, no expiry call option on MSTR. So sooner and later, that's going to move just like MSTR, and MSTR outperforms Bitcoin. So STRK is just a really interesting product. Follow Dan Hillary if you want to know more about that. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is that there's not a 93 or 95% chance that they get included. There's a 93, 94% chance that they qualify. and I think it's significantly higher than 50% chance that they do get included. I think it's more likely than not, and that's the best I can say. Maybe it's a 75% chance, maybe not. But as I said before, there's very little risk to MSTR right now, in my opinion, unless a nuke is dropped somewhere and all bets off, obviously. Otherwise, I would say MSTR at a current MNAV of 1.95 is low risk. It's attractive because of S&P 500. The buy wall of QQQ that was front run in October, November took strategy to new heights. There was a lot of movement upwards in the stock. I don't recall the specific numbers. Yeah, I do believe we reached $540. And right now strategy is at, let me just try and get it precisely, at 388. Honestly, I think if they're included, they'll go even significantly higher than that. So that's going to be good for my MSTR position. It's going to be good for my strike position. And again, I just think there's very little downside risk on strategy right now. What I'd love to see, what I hope to see, because right now it's not very accretive for Saylor to run the ATM on the common stock. It does not accrete too much. There's not enough demand for the stock for that to happen, it seems, without the stock price hurting. But the magic number seems to be 3 on the MNAV. And if this S&P 500 inclusion, which hopefully happens, can take strategy above an MNAV 3 so that Saylor can run Strife, Strike, and Stride ATMs, and in a very accretive way, and he then can start running the ATM on the common stock once the MNAV is above 3, above 3.5, maybe if we're so lucky, then that engine is running hot again in terms of giving us those nice, massive Bitcoin buys every weekend that we all look back on October, November, and are excited about. So once you're up there above MNAV 3 or 3.5, and you can do these kind of purchases, that will bring the yield back to life from 5.5% on a quarterly basis to much higher. I think that can really drive. It basically means the engine is running again, and then people will want to own it because the yield is coming in every quarter. So I think that is really attractive. Let me just change this around so I can see. Yeah. So bull case scenario, if this really works out, maybe Saylor can reach 1 million Bitcoin. My target for them over the next 10-15 years is to reach 2.1 million Bitcoin. They could go higher, but I don't want to put a higher target, just to be relatively sure that the target is reached. And yeah, sailors, time to get this ship sailing, Captain. I also wanna, I'm gonna try and make this short, this video. I got another video coming up later, and I don't wanna take too much of your time. I wanna respect your time, but I do wanna just bring some light to Strike here. So I don't own Stride or Strife. I will not hold what is essentially just fiat currency. That's what it is. It gives you a yield, but I believe the dollars is going to die. It's a matter of time. I don't want to hold something that is just a yield. I love Strike because Strike can convert 10-to-1 to MSTR. MSTR right now is just below 400. Strike is $104. So essentially, because there still is the yield in Strike, once the price of MSTR starts getting closer to 1,000, it'll keep pushing Strike higher. It's higher in the capital stack. In case of bankruptcy, which I consider extreme low risk, it will yield it's first in the capital stack in case of something like a bankruptcy, which means you're much more secure. You're secured by the Bitcoin on the balance sheet. In my opinion, a phenomenal product, not one that I would want to own if it wasn't for margin. I would say for family members and others where I would want to play things very safe if I'm helping them out, I'm totally fine putting them in strike, because they can hardly get surprised to the downside. In my opinion, it's not financial advice, but once MSTR runs hot enough and starts approaching $1,000, which is a matter of time, then they will start seeing MSTR-like returns. Point here is that I do think that the last 6 months of MSTR return is not what we're going to see the next 6 months. I think the next 6 months is going to be phenomenally much better. The reason I pulled up Strike here is it is a stock. It's a fixed income stock, nominal $100. Right now it's trading at 104.5. It pays an 8% dividend, which means that once a quarter, so 4 times a year, it pays out $2. That's what gives the official dividend of 8%. Because it's trading at $104.5, the effective yield is 7.7% instead of 8. That's still very high compared to the high degree of safety that this has built in. And the next payout, ladies and gentlemen, is as you can see there, bottom right, number 2 from the bottom, is the 30th of June. So 4 days from now, plus minus, I don't know when is the exact cutoff date, but it says next payout date is 30th of June. There will be a $2 dividend to each strike holder. And that's how I majorly play the margin usage of my account. So further to that, I want to also just, I'm kind of done with this point, but bottom line, if I should do the TLDR and sum it up, I think the S&P 500 inclusion is more likely than not to happen this summer. When that happens, I think we will see the volatility, the price run in the upwards direction all come back to MSTR. I think with a bit of luck, we'll get the MNAV above 3.5, which means that Saylor can run that engine and deliver yield running the ATM on the 3 preferred stock as well as the common stock MSTR. Okay, so that was the TLDR, and I did not sell any MSTR for the new shiny rockets. I held on to it, and I think now is the time to be happy for that decision. I do want to also just let you know, and I want to share that here, replace screen share, and we're going to go to this one. Yep. Let me bring it up. So I am trying to crank out as much content as possible in the BAC. Shout out Corey. I think he was the one that suggested BAC as Bitcoin accumulating company that nicely catches what these LPEs, BTCTCs essentially do. And it's also, there's a shout out to Adam Back in that name. It's BAC. You just need to add a little K, but that's a shout out to Adam Back, one of the probably most active people in the backspace. But what I want to let you know is that 1 hour and 40 minutes from now, oh yeah, by the way, I have renamed thanks to another Smarter Web company investor in that community. He suggested it shouldn't be Smarter Web Wednesdays, it should be Smarter Webly Wednesdays, as a nudge to their CEO Andrew Webley, who's a super nice guy. He's back on my channel next Wednesday. But so there is a rebranding. I'm just having fun with that name. So in 1 hour 40 minutes, I'm going live with Smarter Webly Wednesdays episode 3. This is, by the way, MSTR Mondays episode 24, and that is with James, who is a local investor in UK, and I'm looking forward to hear his case and his arguments for SWC. I hope they're good because, as I've mentioned earlier, I have a tiny bag there, so I hope things will go very well. I do believe they will. On Monday, I have on this YouTube channel Mr. Anderson, the CEO of H100, which is the Nakamoto or UTXO management invested Swedish back Bitcoin accumulating company. So doing a deep dive with the CEO there. That is Monday, 1 a.m. Pacific time, which makes it 4 a.m. Eastern time, which makes it 10 a.m. very conveniently here in Central European time. And then on Wednesday next week, Smarter Webly Wednesdays episode 4 with the CEO Andrew Webley back to give us an update on the incredible Bitcoin buying spree that he's on. And then for the first time on my channel next Thursday, Alexandra Lassay, the CEO and Mr. BTC Yield from the blockchain group with the ticker symbol ALTBG for Bitcoin Treasuries World episode 4, ALTBG Thursdays edition. So that's with CEO Alexandra. I met him. I met Mr. Anderson in at Prague, where I had a great time. I was emceeing there on main stage, introducing speakers. One of the best Bitcoin fireside chats, probably the best that I've ever seen, was in them. And that's an argument to, I would say, have access to the VIP lounge, which right now in Prague for next year, it's going to be in June. It's selling for, I think, 1,100 euro, but you have 3 days with breakfast, lunch, like food throughout the day, delicious coffee, open bar, and these smaller fireside chats where that one, which was Alexander, that was the moderator, and then it was with Adam Back and Michael Saylor, probably the two biggest names in Bitcoin right now. And the reason I'm bringing it up, I'm posted that BTC Prague posted it out earlier today, so I retweeted that on my X account, which is all right there at Anders _ I highly recommend watching that. That was really good. And soon, if not already, the discount code for BTC Prague, which will be Anders but without the underscore, should give you some level of discount for those Prague tickets. I had a great time there. You know, I probably wouldn't spend the money myself, but as a speaker there, you get access to it, and that's the fun part of speaking. Well, it's one of them. The adrenaline rush of going on stage is also awesome. Thank you so much. I don't want to take any more of your time. I'll be back in 1.5 hours with James, and we're going to talk about Smarter Web Company. Until then, I think I'll enjoy to go for a walk in the beautiful weather in Denmark. So, is it Monday already? No, most of my MSTR are Mondays. They are coming on other days than Mondays, which is why in the future I probably won't put week names, weekdays into the title. Let's see here. There is a comment. This will be the last, and I'll keep this stream below half an hour. Comment from Joe Siminski. MSTR will qualify for the S&P 500 after close next Monday. So that's this upcoming Monday. Currently posting over 10 billion in earnings as the current BTC price of 107,000. I said that correctly. It's been trading sideways for roughly 6 months. Get ready. I couldn't agree more, Joe. And that's why I made this stream, because I think it's right now when everyone, not everyone, but the momentum have left MSTR. I think now is the time to pay attention. And I know from the options trader that the implied volatility is very low. How is that measured? That's measured by the call options actually being low. I don't hold any call options on MSTR. I do hold some derivative product. I hold MSTR and I hold Strike. And I think the next 6 months will be fun. Will it outperform Meta, Planet, SWC, and some of the others? Probably not, but it's very low risk in my opinion at this point. Nothing's financial advice. Have a great Thursday. If you're interested in Smarter Web Company, then we're going live again in 1.5 hours with James from UK, a local investor. Thank you for watching. 300 live people here, and have a good one. I may or may not see you again here.